let's move on to the next team, which is yours, and I won't hijack it because I'm not as selfish as you are, like you did with the Timberwolves.
It's the New Orleans Pelicans, and this was a confusing one because I once felt like there were a bunch of candidates and no candidates. So I ended up going with Devonte Graham. I think, yeah, I didn't think that would be a popular pick. Definitely not the conventional one. It feels like a really ideal situation for him because he has a phenomenal lob target and transition threat in Zion Williamson. He has a great wing scorer in Brandon Ingram who can allow him to serve as a primary creator sometimes, but also work off the ball more. He has never worked as a cutter. He actually did not register enough possession finishing plays on cuts to register on the play types within NBA.com. So I don't really know that this would work, but I just feel, given his instincts and his length, that there's something there. He's not tall, but he is surprisingly long. And that coupled with the passing vision, which is legitimately excellent. Like you saw that from the very start of his surprising rookie season, where like he was making advanced reads, advanced passes. They were hitting guys in the right spots right away. It feels like a good situation for him to reestablish himself as that player we thought he was coming out of his rookie season, where like maybe this guy is a legitimate dual threat point guard who can excel as a scorer sometimes, excel as a passer most of the time.
I love that pick, even though it's not my pick, because I loved Devonte Graham. When you're looking at the 2019-2020 season he had in Charlotte, I don't think he's ever going to be a good finisher. I think we've proven that. But he was among the best in the league at assists generated near the rim because defenses do respect his dribble penetration. And he had hit off the dribble threes, and he meant something to Charlotte's offense. This is a number that I knew existed, which is why I was able to look it up so quickly while you were talking. Again, 2019-2020. So it's going back beyond this past season. But among every single player to log at least 750 minutes, Devonte Graham had the 7th highest offensive rating swing in the league. 11.2 points per 100 possessions better the Charlotte Hornets were when he was on the court offensively.
He was so electric. It was so fun.
He was obviously working from a lower baseline, but just consider the names that are in front of him. Dame, Cat, Trae Young, Devin Booker, CP3, and Gallo was number 1 in the league, by the way, when he was in OKC that year. But
yeah, go Gallo.
I think he's a viable candidate, especially because they need him. Where in Charlotte, it felt like he wasn't able to do enough, or at least the dynamics changed when you had LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward in there, even with Terry Rozier playing so well. He's going to have more responsibility, I think, which suits him. He's almost one of those players where I think, yeah, he will hit so many catch and shoot threes, but he does really need to be involved to get within the flow of the game. I, though, went with Naji Marshall because the Pelicans' wing depth is still it's all over the place. I love the Trey Murphy pick. I like Josh Hart still. I can't believe he only got 1 guaranteed year. But Marshall is someone who could play the 3 and the 4, shoot the 3 ball fairly well, match up defensively at, probably 3 different positions at this point. And I still think they need him to play. And they're also, when you look on paper, they're not good enough to say, you know what, we can't play him because they didn't have enough experience. You still need wings. You have Brandon Ingram, you have Trey Murphy, who's a rookie, you have Josh Hart, and those are your wings, really.
Herbert
I don't know,
Jones might get there.
Maybe. But I mean, like Garrett Temple is there. I'm not putting Garrett Temple ahead.
Is he though? Is he really?
I do think I was with you. You framed it perfectly. I simultaneously feel like there are a ton of candidates and not many because I really want to say Kyra Lewis Jr. I just don't know what type of opportunity he has. And
I think it's a year early.
He is a human blur, but you have Devonte Graham, Thomas Satoransky, plus Point Zion, plus who I think is a viable other candidate, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And so just what do the roles look like there? I love Noah. Someone I was infatuated with when he was coming out of the 2019 draft, or is that 2020 draft?
19, I think.
2019, yeah. He wasn't a rookie last year, so 2019. He just hasn't put it together for me on offense. Is sort of really just all over the place. He does feel like he has that juice when he's going downhill. Can he piece it together into something that's cohesive, though, when you look at his game? Or can you just count on him to do that, but then also kind of be more of a complementary device, an accessory device, however you want to frame it? his game is also sort of wired to be like the ball probably needs to be in his hands. Maybe this roster is better suited to him getting more minutes in general without Eric Bledsoe there and without Lonzo Ball there. Maybe. I don't like, can he take on the Lonzo Ball role, but just have a little bit more on ball creation in the half court? That would be huge for them. And I wouldn't rule it out defensively either, by the way. He would be my second choice, but I'm going with Marshall just because I'm not. They have Brandon Ingram, they have Josh Hart, so they have guys that are ahead of him in the depth chart. But if they are looking to compete for something, how many minutes do they give to Trey Murphy? Do they view Naw as sort of a wing, or maybe he plays a lot of 2, or maybe even some 3 in certain lineups? I'm going to roll the dice on Naji Marshall because I think he's a really good player that fits they need plug and play guys, I think, because you have Zion, you have Brandon Ingram, you even have Jonas Valanciunas, who's kind of plug and play, but he's also going to want touches on the offensive end. And I think you need to cater to the guys at this point who are going to work their asses off defensively for you. And when you're looking at this roster, I'm not talking about effectiveness necessarily, but I would argue you have Josh Hart and then Marshall is just like the guy that's going to work, and Murphy. Those are your 3 guys that are going to work their tails off defensively every single possession. I find it, I don't want to say alarming because he did show some growth, but the fact that neither of us mentioned Jackson Hayes probably is, a referendum on just how blah the Pelicans sort of seem for next season. But I don't know. Maybe he does.
I do want to give a shout out to Wenyen Gabriel as well. I don't think that there's a path to him playing enough minutes to be a true breakout candidate, but I fell in love with his game during the 2020 playoffs for the Portland Trailblazers. He showed a lot of growth as a shooter and looked a little bit more comfortable, like passing off the short roll. Wasn't really turning into assists yet, but I think there's still something there.
I think what he needs, though, and this isn't the roster to do it, is because he can't log minutes at the 3, he needs to be one of the primary backup 4s or even 5s. Yeah. I know we'd be undersized there. And I think they're going to, you have Jackson Hayes and Jonas Valanciunas at the 5. Maybe they even still like Willie Hernangomez is still there, right? Maybe they even like him a little bit better. And again, Gabriel's size. And then at the 4, I'm hoping they go with more Marshall at the 4 minutes alongside Brandon Ingram. Maybe they don't do that, so Wenyen Gabriel can crack it there. I
don't think there's much of a path, but I like him enough as a player still that I want to at least mention him in this conversation.
I'm with it. Like you said, there's a ton of candidates, and there's also not at the same time.